Individual liberty and freedom requires individual responsibility. Buy a gun, learn to use it, keep it with you. We will all be safer for that. Our founders understood that. They said Americans are safe because they are well armed. We need to be well armed and quit restricting. Every time there's a shooting, we try to take away ammunition, we try to take away guns, we try to make people jump over another hurdle to own a weapon. That hurts us, it harms us, and it puts us at greater risk of being injured by that next gun-toting criminal that comes in intent on doing harm.
The founders were dealing with flintlock rifles, matchlock rifles, not fully automatic handguns with 18 and 20 rounds in every magazine.
If you read their writing, they clearly believed that the people should be more skilled and own weapons more advanced than those that the government had. They understood that when people fear government, there's tyranny. When government fears people, there's freedom. We have to understand that it is people possessing weaponry that is as advanced as the government that keeps that healthy balance between freedom and tyranny.
Oh, you're not saying that we should all have nuclear weapons then?
I'm saying that there ought to be members of our society in the private sector that absolutely are skilled and sophisticated in the use of weaponry.
Well, you said it's the same balance, and I just can't imagine having...
I can't imagine that either, and yet I think we've got to be championing those ideas and having that debate. Look over history and see what people have used, what elected officials and leaders have used the weaponry at their disposal to do. It is to subject and subjugate their own citizens. We have to have a healthy balance there and understand that. I hope certainly that restoring the desire and the understanding of the need to have more traditional weaponry and firearms will be what we need to get that balance back in government.
I was going to say, where would you draw the line, since there's so many beyond the pale of most of us to be able to purchase?
Right. I think that we have to recognize another thing that the founders talked about in that First Amendment Bill of Rights. We talk about freedom of press, speech, religion. We forget often about the freedom of assembly. It is that deliberative assembly of men where we find the greatest wisdom. This is a discussion that needs to be had. It's not a get in line behind Debra Medina and her ideas. It's come to the table and let's talk about these things that cause freedom. Let's have leaders that recognize that it is gun ownership and possession and use that keeps us safe. Bring to the table that discussion, and let's have that dialogue so that we find what that best course is. Yeah, I don't want to be out there some radical saying we ought to all be certainly be building nuclear weapons in our garage. That's not where I'm going. I'm talking about the more practical Columbines, Virginia Techs, 9/11s, Fort Hoods, those sorts of things that are taking the lives of people in our country on a basis that's certainly much more regular and more frequent than it ought to be if we but understood those principles and ideas.
Okay, we'll give your soapbox back. How's the campaign going?
It is going great when I get in front of crowds of people. My challenge really is the name ID, making sure that folks understand there's someone else. I think Kay and Rick are squabbling in the corner, and the two kids squabbling in the corner seem to eat up a lot of the oxygen in the room. I am working really hard to make sure people know that I'm in this debate. We've seen and in this race, we've seen here in the Metroplex area a debate being scheduled. I certainly appear to meet. In fact, Shelley Koffler told me herself in September, you meet those criteria. We're looking forward to you being in our debate. And now it appears that they are succumbing to some pressure from the governor. Everybody's kind of mincing words. But look forward to being in that debate. Know that it's critical to get in that debate so that folks understand they have another choice.
Is there any poll besides the Texas and the Texas Tribune poll that came out that put you above the 6% minimum?
I think we've only had 3, if you will, polls that would be referred to as kind of credible polls on the governor's race. There was a Rasmussen poll. I can't remember there have been 3. I don't remember that. One I was at 3, one I was at 4, and the next one I was at 7. Those are the only kind of published ones. There's been a number of internet polls, including the recent Texans for Fiscal Responsibility. I did a poll, and I think I was second in that race ahead of Kay. I know those tend to be discounted. So I think we've had 3 released to date, and we've doubled our numbers. You know, 3, 4, 7 in a relatively short period of time. We've got about 80 days left here. It is pretty conceivable that we're going to get up to that 20–30% to be able to make a runoff. I tell you, what I'm finding is when I get in front of an audience, when people know I'm in the race, we're polling at over 50% of those that know I'm in the race. So it's a very credible campaign, one that's getting a lot of enthusiasm from those that are hearing about it.
Should you be in these 2 televised debates?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Meet all the criteria to be in the debates. Anticipate probably that the Belo Corporation's threshold may be a little higher than 6, but we were at 7. That was 6 weeks ago. And our campaign is growing exponentially every day, so I certainly have every confidence that we are up into the double digits. Expect that we will be up in the double digits. So much of that depends on the the concept of the poll and the strategy of the poll and who we're looking at. But I expect that we're in double digits, and hope to get an invitation from Belo as well to participate in that debate.
How would you separate yourself from those 2 candidates in a debate?
You've got 2 kind of entrenched, long-term elected officials who have flown very close to the flame of political power and corruption for a long time, versus a working Texan, someone who's washing dishes and doing the laundry and working at a business, and whose eye has been on the political ball and the political dialogue for a number of years. I bring a number of ideas to the table for real opportunity in Texas. I think we failed on the border. We failed on property tax reform. We failed on education. As Republicans, Kay and Rick, neither one have any really new ideas in those areas. I'm bringing back some kind of what appear to be revolutionary ideas, and they were revolutionary in 1776. They continue to be revolutionary today. I'm going to champion those. I've got fire in the belly to fight for those things. Kay and Rick, neither one have that kind of enthusiasm. So I believe it'll be pretty clear to the viewers during that debate who really cares about we Texans. And I'm talking about common sense and common values. You hear that on the street all the time. We've got to begin to put people back in office and then leave them there just for a time to serve us, bring them back to live under the rules and the laws that they've enacted. That'll give us a healthier, freer, more prosperous society.
Do you worry about being at a significant disadvantage because you are not a college cheerleader?
Gosh, I've never been a cheerleader, you know. At least in the Webster sense of the word cheerleader. I'm certainly a cheerleader for freedom and prosperity, and that's the message that I'm championing here. We are in a David and 2 Goliaths battle. We are in an American patriot, King George sort of battle. Those are the odds that we face, but we both know the outcome of those challenges in the past. This is going to be a race that's going to set the political world on its ear, if you will, or maybe on its arse, and set the freedom and prosperity movement on fire. Texas is going to lead the country. Debra Medina is going to champion that. I am proud and humbled to be carrying that banner for Texas.